Dream home disaster. Tonight, a veterinarian who rescues sick and injured animals is trying to save the farmhouse she bought as a refuge.
She's been restoring the old place in Milford for her family of rescued pets, but the work suddenly came to a halt over hazardous material.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig tells us about the dream in jeopardy and the friends on a mission to save it.
I've always had a plethora of broken and sick little creatures that have found their way home from work with me. So I have 6 dogs, all of which have medical issues that I've moved in here with.
When Carrie Nugent, a veterinarian, moved into her 176-year-old dream house a few years ago, she came with 6 little dogs she's rescued, like Bennett. She pulled him out of a puppy mill. He's now living a life of tender, loving care.
He had to have all of his teeth pulled. As you can see, he doesn't have anything down here, but he does just fine. His tongue sticks out a little bit, but he's the sweetest.
So to fix up the old farmhouse for her and her 4-legged family, she secured a restoration loan, but it requires her to have the work done in 6 months. Then when Kemmer Construction began work on the inside, Carrie came home one day to see this disaster, and it was nothing short of a nightmare.
I think there was a moment of just kind of disconnect, where it doesn't seem like it can possibly be a reality.
The contractor who was supposed to be rehabbing the home had ripped through an area of insulation containing asbestos, an area Carrie says he was supposed to avoid before a remediation team properly removed it.
They did remove part of a ceiling that contained the vermiculite insulation that was within the original scope of the asbestos abatement. There wasn't sufficient barrier in the construction zone, so unfortunately it contaminated the HVAC system and the entire house.
Carrie rushed to get Bennett and the other little dogs out of the house, and then workers who had been at lunch returned and tried to continue demo.
I immediately went in there and said, you guys have to stop. You can't, this is asbestos, you need to get out of the house. There didn't seem to be much concern about what they were actually working with.
And she says it didn't take long for Keith Barrett of Kemmer Construction to go MIA, forcing Carrie out of her dream home and leaving her with what should have been a $3,000 or $4,000 remediation job with one that will now cost $20,000.
I'm not asking for anything else other than to take responsibility for the damage that you caused and to just clean up the mess.
The address for Kemmer Construction is actually the owner Keith Barrett's home here in Royal Oak. We were able to reach the 48-year-old by phone, and he declined to comment on the asbestos debacle. And get this, even though he's been driving around, he's not supposed to even be behind the wheel. The Secretary of State says Barrett's driver's license was revoked twice and actually expired in 2012 after a stack of suspensions related to drunk driving. Carrie is now suing him for the asbestos cleanup. Even her Farm Bureau insurance is saying it's not a covered loss, and the clock is still ticking on that restoration loan.
So we've had to start the cleanup process just so that we can stay on schedule, get everything cleaned up, and then get bids for finishing the construction project within that 6-month time frame.
She's been forced to move in with friend Faye Vorman and her family. Faye has started an online fundraiser to help Carrie and her furry crew get back home to a place that's safe.
I just wanted to be able to give back to her. She saved so many animals, and you know, animals that people give up on with broken legs or other things wrong with them. And you know, how can I give up on someone who never gives up on our little furry friends?
The biggest thing is not having any belongings, and it is rather humbling experience to rely on the kindness of friends and families and perfect strangers to try and, you know, piece together some things just to survive your day-to-day life.
In Milford, Kimberly Craig, 7 Action News.
If you'd like to help her out and make a donation to help with the asbestos cleanup, we have a link to that story on our website at WXYZ.com.